we can start the discussion session. In order to do that, can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu, please?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Panchahi bhikkhave dhammehi samannagato bhikkhu attahitaya cha patipanno hoti parahitaya cha katamehi panchahi ida bhikkhave bhikkhu attana cha sila sampanno hoti parancha sila sampadaya samadapeti attana cha samadhi sampanno hoti parancha samadhi sampadaya samadapeti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, we have taken this particular verse even last time. I think last time for our discussion topic, or as our discussion topic when we met last week. So today is 22nd July 2025. We are having another practice session and another discussion session, and for that also I am taking the same verse. In that verse, the meaning is, the direct translation of the verse is, because possessing 5 qualities, a bhikkhu is practicing both for his own welfare and for the welfare of others. And then is signposting one by one. Number 1, here a bhikkhu is himself accomplished in virtuous behavior and encourages others to become accomplished in virtuous behavior as well. That's the first one. The second one, he is himself accomplished in concentration and encourages others to become accomplished in concentration. So there are 3 others which we will be taking in due course. So we have discussed the first one already, where we were talking about the virtuous behavior. Basically, the main 5 precepts that we know is the foundation of the virtuous behavior. So when you are virtuous, what happens is you will be helping yourself and you will be helping others, and that is the starting point. And a bhikkhu has to tell others to do something only if he is also following the same thing. So it's a very good advice by the Buddha for the monks. Most of the monks today, and they don't follow some of the things that the Buddha has mentioned, but requesting others to follow. So it is like, crab is asking its small ones, little ones, to go straight while the crab is walking crooked. So Buddha says you cannot have the crab theory. You will have to first be virtuous and then encourages others to be virtuous. So similarly, in concentration, you will have to do the same thing. You will have to first accomplish concentration and then teach others about concentration. So this is again even more serious. People are teaching so-called meditation when they don't do it themselves. So when they don't do it themselves, it will be quite hard for someone to get related to someone who is practicing. So this is the reason why the Blessed One says, unless you have something, you can't give it to others. So this is the main foundation of Theravada Buddhism. And there are many other sects of Buddhism. And other sects of Buddhism, especially Mahayana, what they do is they teach others and only after others are enlightened, you will enlighten. So it is not the advice by the Buddha. If you have something, if you are enlightened yourself, then you can enlighten others. That is exactly what the Buddha says. That is exactly what Buddha is saying in his discourses. That is exactly what we are supposed to do. But there are many other facets that we see. Uh, People are deviating from what Buddha has actually told, and which is very logical. And in the previous two sessions, we sort of tried to build up a relationship between the virtuous behavior and the concentration. So, in virtuous behavior, what we basically handle or what we basically overcome is the transgressional defilements. So, transgressional defilements means the defilements that once committed, you will know, and the rest of the world will also know. It has transgressed, it has crossed the line. So that happens only when you do something or only when you say something. So from virtuous behavior, we will come to some sort of a restraint of the physical and verbal activities, physical and verbal misdeeds. But from virtue, you will not be able to see or able to achieve the mental misdeeds or handle mental misdeeds, which we call obsessional defilements. And these obsessional defilements we discussed in the last session are basically five obsessional defilements are there, which we call five hindrances. They are sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubts. So we discussed these things bit in detail, and these are the things that you will encounter while practicing. When you do your mindful walking, when you do your mindful sitting, you will have a lot of thoughts. So those thoughts may be in relation to your sense faculties or the things that you have liked or the things that you have disliked. Or those thoughts may be relating to your hatred nature in the mind, or it may be relating to some idle thinking, so which we don't know. And also when you are practicing, you may sometimes feel sleepy, and also when you are practicing, you may be worrying about certain things that have happened in the past, or you may be bit planning or projecting or agitated about the future. So those are called restlessness and worry. Or skeptical doubts, doubts about the Blessed One, doubts about the teaching, doubts about his followers, or doubt about yourself, doubt about the technique, doubt about the teacher. So anything in relation to Dhamma, you may, if you have doubts, and those are called skeptical doubts. And these things will arise when you walk and when you sit. So that is because your physical and verbal deeds are getting purified, and as a result, you see the mind is boiling with lot of impurities. When physical and verbal deeds are clean, you can see through that how the mind is unclean. So now we are going to concentration means cleaning those dust, cleaning those impurities. So to clean those impurities, the Buddha's teaching, Buddha's technique is to be aware. So when you become aware, you will be able to gradually start cleaning these obsessional defilements or so-called hindrances. So let me give you an example. If you take, while you are walking, or while you are sitting, you may be labeling your walking, or you may be labeling your sitting. So when you are doing that, say while walking, you may be labeling as walking, 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 and you try to bring your attention to the walking. So when you do that, you may succeed because you verbalize what you do. The mind is not having an opportunity to wander about sensual desires, ill will, sloth and torpor, so on and so forth. So you will be hooked into what you are doing. Or it may be another way of labeling, maybe when you to do a bit more closer labeling, you may label while walking. When the leg is moving, right leg is moving, you may call right, 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 right. And when the left is moving, you may call it left, 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 left. So in this manner, you will be able to bring the attention more closer to the leg, depending on whether it is right or the left. So what happens even here is that you're aligning your verbal process with the physical process. As a result, mental process gets directed to what you are doing. And you can do that even bit more sharper. Instead of saying right and left, you also can say lifting. When you lift the leg, you can say lift, 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 or lifting, 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 lifting. And when you place it, you can say placing, 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 placing. So like that, there are many ways of labeling. So there are no rules how you label. If you want to label, you can label it, but it is not compulsory. And it is given basically for very beginners so that they will be able to get bit more closer to the walking process. But if you don't do that, there is no harm at all. So here what I want to say is, when you do that labeling, the attention is coming to the leg. When the attention comes to the leg, you will be now able to see more details of the leg. In the sense, you will start seeing how the leg is lifted, you will see the manner in which it is lifted, and you will see how far it is being lifted from the floor, and then you will see how fast, how slow, that you are moving your leg through the air, and you may be able to feel the air going under the sole of the feet and even the upper foot, sometimes depending on your clarity of observation, clarity of attention. And then you will be able to see, once it is moved, you will be able to see the lowering process as well, and you can see what sort of pressure you will feel in the sole of the feet from the air. And for some people it may be possible to see the traction from the flow, or the gravitational force of the flow to the sole of the feet, and how fast it is being dragged down, and so on and so forth. A lot of information will come. So once it lands on the flow, how you gradually place the leg, and all sorts of information will come. Why? Because from labeling, you have brought your attention to the leg, attention to the sole of the feet. Since the attention is in the sole of the feet, now you are able to see more details. So when that happens, now where are your obsessional defilements? You don't have any sensual desires, because you label and because you get the details of the object. And you don't have ill will, you don't have sloth and torpor, you don't have restlessness and worry, you don't have skeptical doubts. So it is a technique. By labeling and by bringing the attention to the sole of the feet, you keep these hindrances at bay. By keeping the hindrances at bay in this manner, you gradually learn the art of concentration. By learning the art of concentration, you overcome so-called obsessional defilement, so-called 5 hindrances. So, and this, once this happens, and it becomes very peaceful, because there are no thoughts even fighting with you. When the thoughts are there, when the hindrances are there, it's bestow a disturbance for you. So now, in this manner, when you bring the attention to walking, no disturbances from any of the faculties or even from the mind. There are no doubts about the Buddha or anything as such. So you are having less trouble. When you have less trouble, what happens is your mind becomes at peace. Your mind is having a holiday. Now only you really, the mind is resting, because mind is not having many things to do, only one thing, that is to label and observe the details of the sole of the feet. So because of this rest, because of this so-called seclusion from the rest of the things, you will have rapture, you will have a blissful nature. So this is the first type of concentration that you will have in your practice. So the blessed one is labeling this as it's when a mendicant, quiet, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities, enters and remains in the first absorption. So this is the first concentration or the first absorption, which has applied and sustained thoughts with rapture and bliss born of seclusion, while placing the mind and keeping it connected. So this is the process I just explained. Secluded from sensual pleasures means you are no longer with your sense faculties. Secluded from unskillful qualities means unskillful qualities are the 5 hindrances. And you seclude from these 2 things, and by using applied and sustained thoughts. Applied thought means labeling. Sustained thoughts means you, because of the labeling, you start seeing more details. We call it in Pali, vitakka vichara. So when you have vitakka vichara and secluded from unskillful qualities and the sensual pleasures, then you are, because of this seclusion, you have rapture and pleasure. In Pali we call it Priti Sukha. So Priti means, rapture means it's a peace in the mind, happiness in the mind. Pleasure means, or the sukha means, or the bliss means happy feeling in the body, right? So although now you have, when you understand rapture, you have got to be very careful, because some of the people get confused with what rapture is, and then when rapture is really explained, they can't fathom that it cannot be. Now, although the rapture is something that arises in the mind, our mind does not know to enjoy rapture without using the body. If you take, for example, if you are, say, when you are doing an exam, you get very good results. So when you get good results, mind is very happy. So when the mind is happy, what the mind does is it expresses in some way. You start laughing or you start clapping, or for some people, if it is unbelievable result, they may start crying, and they will have some way of mental manifestation, or rather, sorry, physical manifestation of this mental happiness. So that is called rapture. So in practice, when you have rapture, you may feel sometimes some sparks in your body, some sparks in your brain. You may feel lightning in your body, some electric shock in your body. So that is a way the rapture is unfolding. That is the way that we understand that mind is at peace, mind is happy. And also its initial stages, you may feel sometimes ants crawling on your chin, or on your cheeks, on your face, on your forehead, or maybe some small insects are crawling, or you may feel something happening in your face. So you may feel that it is like a beehive. So when that happens, this is also another way that the mind is expressing that mind is happy. And also there are advanced ways. For some people, they may feel that they are levitating. They are not really levitating, but they may feel that they are floating. Or some people may feel uh, so much of gratitude towards the Blessed One, towards the teacher, towards Dhamma. So they may start, while sitting, without their knowledge, they will raise their hand and hold their hand above the head. They may keep worshipping all the time. So that is because they are so much happy in the mind, and that happiness is being expressed physically. And also for some people, you may feel that you are given a nice bath, nice cool bath. Or some people may feel that they are put in an water cave, or water bubble, or in a water balloon. So things like that. So certain physical manifestations may be uh, uh, mm, given in the mind. They are not actually happening. They are called mental volitions. Mind is creating volitions and trying to show images, trying to imply that certain things are happening in your body. So that is how you will understand rapture. And bliss means, or the pleasure, happiness in the body means, you feel the body is completely at peace. There is no lot of friction. It is very quietly relaxing. And so these two will be the result of being secluded from sensual pleasures and unskillful qualities. So when that happens, that is called the first absorption. So once you achieve this, then you know how it is achieved. So once you know how it is achieved, you can gradually encourage others to do it. And when you encourage others to do it, you don't tell them, I'm going to give you first absorption. You don't tell them, I'm going to give you first jhana. By listening to their report, teacher will be able to understand where the report is heading. Then teacher will encourage them to do whatever is necessary to get there, and to remove whatever is not necessary to get there. But the teachers will never say that you are going into first jhana, second jhana, third jhana. And if someone says, then there is something wrong. Then it is questionable, because blessed one is not targeting anything, but they are happening. So sometimes, for most of you, this may have happened, but you don't know, you just keep passing them. Because when you pass them, it's unlike you walk on the road. When you walk on the road, of course, you will be able to see, okay, now I am going from Queensland to New South Wales, and New South Wales to Victoria. So on and so forth. They will have boundaries, they will have signposts. But when you walk on the path of the Buddha, there are no signposts. It does not say that you have achieved the first absorption. It does not say that you have achieved the second absorption. You just keep walking. You just keep practicing. And what you really do in your practice is that you keep the mindfulness to the fore. When you keep the mindfulness to the fore, when you provide the necessary requirements to the practice, it will naturally happen. There is nothing for us to do. So this is why I'm saying, whenever you do something, it is very important to keep the mindfulness to the fore. No matter at which stage you are, you just become aware. Not just become aware, you become aware that you are aware as well. So when you know of your own awareness, so the mindfulness is continuing very nicely. So when that continues in this manner, these things will happen. You don't even notice, they keep going. So when they keep going in this manner, what happens is you will get to the second stage of the practice. So in the second stage, what happens is you are now learning a new quality. In the first absorption, you have two sides. One is you seclude from certain things, and as a result, you are gaining something. So that is the new skill. That is the new that is the new thing that you are learning. And the same thing is continuing when you practice. So if I may put it this way, when you remove or when you seclude from sensual pleasures and unskillful qualities, it did not just happen by itself. It happened because of your labeling, because of your applied and sustained thoughts. So there the mind is learning an art to keep more frictional things away. You will have to take a less frictional thing. So the less frictional thing is the applied and sustained thoughts. The higher frictional thing is the sensual pleasures and the unskillful qualities. So mind is now learning this art. This is how you get rid of the frictional things. And then continuous observation, continuous mindfulness. When you are in the first absorption, now you don't have sensual pleasure and unskillful qualities. But what you now have is the rapture and the pleasure arisen from the seclusion on one hand, and on the other hand, you have applied and sustained thoughts. In other words, vitakka vichara. In other words, labeling and the details of the object. Right? So when you have these two categories, applied and sustained thoughts and bliss and rapture, mind gradually starts understanding of these two categories, which one is frictional. When you keep on saying right, left, when you keep on saying lifting, placing, when you keep on saying lifting, moving, placing, when you keep on saying in breath, out breath, when you keep on saying rising, when you keep on saying falling, I'm not suggesting that you will have to do all these things. So different people may use different ways of what you call labeling. So therefore, I just wanted to remind those labeling ways. That is why I kept on repeating all these things. So when you do this, after some time in the first absorption, you will realize this labeling is a nuisance. Labeling is a trouble. Labeling is having more friction, and because you are labeling, you are not able to fully enjoy the rapture, enjoy the pleasure that you have gained. So since mind is seeing these things, the mind will gradually opt to keep the labeling away, to keep the applied and sustained thoughts away. So that's on one hand, and on the other hand, mind will gradually stop it as well, even without your knowledge. Since you have more details, since your attention is with the body, and you see more rapture and you see more blissful nature, you may forget to label and you may forget to see the details of the object. So it naturally happens as a result of keeping the mindfulness to the fore. So therefore, when that happens, you are moving away from the first absorption. If you drop your labeling and taking the details of the object, you move away from the first absorption. So moving away from the first absorption is called the second absorption. So in the second absorption, the Blessed One says, calming down of applied and sustained thoughts, a bhikkhu achieves and remains in the second jhana, which is the absorption, with internal tranquility and one-pointedness, born of seclusion from applied and sustained thoughts, and with rapture and bliss born of concentration. So this is very interesting. It says calming down of applied and sustained thoughts, which means you don't deliberately do it. When you keep the mindfulness to the fore, that naturally happens. Your applied and sustained thoughts gradually calms down, gradually subside. So you don't poke your fingers to stop. For some people, we see when they are practicing, some people, although they are so much involved in the leg or the breathing, some people don't like to give away the labeling. So for them, we ask them to try and stop them intentionally. But it is not necessary all the time. If you keep the mindfulness to the fore, that will naturally get calmed down. So once it calms down, the Blessed One says, calming down of applied and sustained thoughts, bhikkhu achieves and remain in the second absorption. So calming down after the first absorption, when you calm down in these two, then you go to the second absorption. So in the second absorption, you have a quality. That quality is called, what you have is still the same thing, rapture and bliss. Even in the first absorption, you have rapture and bliss. Even here, you have the rapture and bliss. But there is a difference. The difference is the rapture in the first absorption was derived from the seclusion of the sensual pleasures and the hindrances. But now here, the rapture and bliss is there, but it is not from seclusion, it is from concentration. Why it says it is from concentration is because you are now completely with the body. Your attention is completely with the body. On one hand, rapture is creating more physical manifestations, so that is with the body. And on the other hand, body itself is calm. So when you are internally aligned, it mentions here with internal tranquility. So you have come to your body. Attention is in the body. Mind is in the body. So when the mind is in the body, that is a complete seclusion, even from applied and sustained thoughts. So that gives the concentration, and the concentration that you have here now, or rapture and bliss you have here now, is not from seclusion. It is from the internal tranquility, which we call concentration. So in the second absorption, you have basically concentration with rapture and bliss. In other words, in the second absorption, you have only rapture and bliss. No more applied or sustained thoughts. So applied and sustained thoughts have gradually faded away. So there may have situations like that. Now, some people, when they write the report, they simply write, I was practicing and then I was feeling so comfortable, and I was feeling this, I was feeling that, I was feeling very light, I was feeling very peaceful, I was feeling floating. So they may say many things. They are not wrong. They have gone to an absorption. That may be second absorption, but teachers don't encourage that. Why they don't encourage is teachers don't want to know, especially those who teach mindfulness, especially those who try to walk on the path to final liberation. Just saying that you have achieved a peaceful state is not enough, because what we require is not just the achievement, we require the path to that achievement. So therefore, when you submit a report, you will have to submit the report from the time you try to pay your attention to breath. If you are talking about mindful sitting, if you are talking about mindful walking, then you will have to start from the point where you try to bring your attention to the sole of the feet. And from there, gradually how you did that, and what sort of observations you made, and over time what happens to what you did, and over time what happens to what you observed, then the teacher will be able to gradually see that this person is walking on this path and this is what is happening. Then he will accept the fact that you have a bliss, fact that you have rapture. Otherwise, what happens is you will fall onto the period before Buddha. If you fall into the period before Buddha, you will have these things, but you will have a lot of, at the same time, craving for those achievements. So that is why you can't see the path. If you can see the path, what you are learning is continuous awareness. You are not trying to hold on to something. You are not trying to look for something. You are not trying to, you will not be caught up by anything, because you simply maintain awareness. So, but if you simply say, I was sitting and then I straight away went to a state of so and so, then you are being caught. You have not maintained awareness. So therefore, it is an indication when you have rapture and bliss that your practice is going well, but that alone is not enough. You will have to give the path as well, so that the teacher know whether you are with the Buddha or the pre-Buddha era. So therefore, the second absorption is a situation where you have no, if I may give a summary again, no sustained thoughts, no applied thought, as in the case of first absorption, but you have internal tranquility, which is born of concentration, and that tranquility will have rapture and bliss. And when you again keep on doing this, maybe without your knowledge, the mind is now looking for more happy states, more peaceful states. Mind is now gradually learning the art of leaving the frictional thing away. So what happens is, in the second absorption, the mind has two things, or this particular practitioner is having only two things. The two things he is having is rapture and the bliss. So when you keep on practicing, the mind will gradually understand this rapture is more troublesome compared to the bliss. Because of the rapture, in rapture, what happens is it is creating a volition. Mind is at peace, but that peaceful mind is trying to enjoy the peace by creating certain images, by creating certain mental phenomena about the body, of floating and scrolling or electric shocks, things like that. So therefore, this rapturous situation is more active, more frictional, more energy wasting, if I may say so, compared to blissful nature. So when you keep on being mindful of the second absorption, you will gradually see this. Only when you are aware, only when you maintain awareness, you will be able to see this nature of the two mental characteristics. So then once the mind is aware of this mental characteristic, once it simply maintains that one is more frictional and the other is less frictional, it will naturally, because by merely knowing that one is frictional and the other is not, the frictional thing will not stand a chance. Frictional thing is creating the friction because of the volition, and the volition gradually subsides when you become aware of the volition. And volition is intentional involvement. So intentional involvement that now you have is see the intentional involvement. So when you see the intentional involvement, you don't provide more fertilizer to intentional involvement. So as a result, intentional involvement dies down. So when the intentional involvement dies down, then the rapture or the physical manifestation, or not the physical manifestation, mind manifestations about the physicality will gradually subside. So when it subsides, in the third absorption, what happens is rapture goes away and you will have only the bliss. But now, since the rapture has gone away, there is a possibility that you may start crying, because this rapture is not something that you brought from home. Rapture is not something that you have gained from your so-called faculties. Rapture is something that you have gained after giving up faculties, after giving up five hindrances as well. So it is something gained from the practice. So therefore you may feel bad about it. So when you feel bad about it, you may start crying. In the sense, it is not literally crying. You will be sad about it. You will be worried about it. So here, in this instance, it is very important. Now, this is a juncture where the teachers will be able to see whether the practitioner is actually being mindful or he is being just a concentration practitioner. Most of the practitioners, 99.9% of the practitioners, when they come to this stage, they show the signs of being concentrated practitioners and not insight practitioners. And they always have one or the other complaint, one or the other blame about the loss of the rapture. That doesn't matter. Because if the teacher is teaching mindfulness, that doesn't matter. So then the teacher might say, okay, it is true that you have gained rapture from the practice. Now you are losing the same rapture. You will have to be aware of the fact that it is losing, and you will have to be aware of the fact that you are worried about the loss of the rapture. So when he is taught in that manner, since the mindfulness has already been introduced to the person, he will gradually start being mindful of being worried as well. So when that happens, they have lost the rapture, and he gets worries, and he start becoming mindful of the worry. So when you become mindful of the worry, worry gradually fades away, and fading away of the worry creates a balanced mind. And gradual creation of the balanced mind is called the equanimity. So here what I want to say is, as the punchline, is that although you are detaching from rapture, you will be equanimous, because you have mindfulness, and your mindfulness is continuing. And the continuing mindfulness is called clear comprehension. So, so when it comes to the third absorption, this is what is happening. You you don't you are secluded, or you are detached from the rapture, and that has created equanimity. And since you are detached from the rapture, you have only blissful state. You will be blissful now in the mind as well as in the body. Usually it is the blissfulness of the body, and it says, when there is no energy wasted, when there is no mental volition created, mental volition arising to create rapture, that energy is also invested in the blissful nature. So therefore you will be completely blissful. Your mind will be without mental volitions. So both mind and the body will experience ultra calm situation when it comes to the third absorption. So the blessed one says, he achieves and remains in the third absorption, equanimous and mindful of the bliss he abides in. And in the full explanation is that he says, having been detached from the rapture, the bhikkhus dwells in equanimity with the mindfulness and clear comprehension, and experiences the bliss in mind and body. So in this manner, you will be able to accomplish concentration yourself. And once you know the art of accomplishing concentration using mindfulness and continuation of mindfulness, which we call clear comprehension, then you will be able to teach others as well, because you have accomplished it, you have experienced it yourself, and therefore you know how to tell others. So therefore it is for the welfare of your own and also welfare of others as well. So that is why this sutta is called Attahita Parahita Sutta. Atta means your own, para means others. So it is not only virtue, you become virtuous and then teach others how to become virtue. Not only concentration, you become concentrated and teach others concentration. You can also teach, you can go to the other three things as well in due course. But we don't have time much now, very few minutes left to conclude the session. I'm not going to take the fourth absorption in this session because it requires a bit more explanation. Because in the third absorption, I just mentioned about the clear comprehension. So I want to talk a bit more about clear comprehension before going on to the fourth absorption, so that you will be able to see how mindfulness is getting linked to the concentration that Buddha is teaching. So a lot of people get confused. The concentration that is taught by Buddha is the same thing as that existed before Buddha. It is not the same thing. Buddha very clearly mentions in the third absorption that those who are coming to this state, they have mindfulness and clear comprehension as well, which is sati and sampajanya as well. So this sati sampajanya gets, in other words, mindfulness and clear comprehension, or the mindfulness and full mindfulness, call it, some people call it. And this gets even more refined. This gets even more evolved when it goes to the fourth absorption. So we will take that in the next session. So may you all have wonderful Buddha's concentrated life and the practice. Blessings of the Triple Gem.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So in order to conclude the session, Chatu, are you in a position to recite the stanzas?
I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now today, after practicing for 1.5 hours and listening to a talk on mindfulness, we have gathered some positive energies. So this is the time for us to pass those positive energies that we have gathered to the rest of the living beings. So can I kindly request Chatu to chant the stanzas and then transfer merits, please.
May all devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperities. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, everybody. So I'll see you in the next session, hopefully. Everyone,
Everyone's at 9. Everyone's at 9.